Welcome. Happy Sunday. Look toward the lower right side of the bracket. What Argentina has ahead is amazing. I mean, Argentina could make it to the World Cup semifinals having played against Algeria, Austria, Jordan, Cape Verde, Australia, or Egypt. And then, well, Switzerland, Algeria, again, I doubt it. Colombia or Ghana, but I think it will be Colombia. And now let's talk about Colombia. What a great team Colombia has. What a great team. Above all, because not just because the players are good, but having Lucho Diaz, who is an incredible footballer. I love that player. And having James, which is more about the name. In theory, it should be more about the name than what James is nowadays. And yet, hey, when he puts on that jersey, man, cool. And many times in a World Cup, it's men on a mission. It's what we often say about Argentina. And Colombia has that, but it's burned into them. Now, I think that in a quarterfinal against Argentina, and a Colombian could explain this better to you, that's just what I see from the outside. Um, but under normal conditions, it could easily be a 50-50 match. But so many times Argentina, and not to go too far back, it hasn't happened like that in knockout rounds. They're always playing each other, not just in friendly matches, but in qualifiers. I think Colombia won the last time, but I hope I'm not wrong. But come on, the last important match, really important, because I think in those qualifiers, Argentina was already qualified for the World Cup. Important match, Copa America final, Argentina. When Argentina has to win it, Argentina wins it. I also remember the 2015 Copa America, same thing, where Argentina ended up losing to Chile. But were those the quarterfinals or semifinals? I don't remember. Argentina won. I mean, they've kind of gotten into their heads a little bit. And I think that's why Argentina's path to the semifinals is like that, right? The teams I mentioned. At that point, of course, they'd face either Brazil or England, or who knows, because in this World Cup, hey, all the African teams have qualified, by the way, and they're going to put up a real fight. And also the South American teams, except for Uruguay. But anything can happen here. I mean, we've seen Japan play really well. Maybe Mexico, with the strength of being the host and playing really well, even though for Mexico, just reaching the quarterfinals would already be a victory. I don't want any Mexican to misunderstand me. You know what I mean? About the fifth match and all that, which in this case, there's one more knockout round. But I think Mexico is better than in other editions, so we'll see. But anyway, here it's like rolling out the red carpet for Argentina. And before talking about Cristiano and a few things about the Argentina match too, by the way, which Argentina was obviously going to win no matter what. But the foul that led to Lo Celso's goal was unbelievable, wasn't it? Because that's something we never lack. We never lack, but it's the typical foul that later, well, depending on interpretation, whether it's residual or not, well, I say whatever suits me best in this case. Let's see, you're going to be seen around here. The Mexican is around here, and obviously it's early morning hours, and then she scolds me, not just on TV, of course, TV is TV. Eh, here at home, we can't do a reality show anymore. She says, I almost bring out her worst side. Since we're not doing a reality show at home anymore, you're free now. The Mexican says hi. The Mexican woman I told you about, hey, do you know that you have to beat Ecuador first, then beat England, and then beat Brazil? And then she looked at me and said, do you doubt it? I mean, the Mexicans are really confident. They're really confident. Well, and that's good. That's good. Also, here it's celebrated because I saw that in the Spain versus Uruguay match, most of the people in Guadalajara were Mexicans and most of them were supporting Spain. The Uruguayans began asking them why and what was going on. And I said, man, let's see. I mean, because of this so called Latin Brotherhood, which is actually not the right term, by the way, it's Hispanic American. I always say the same thing. It's not Latin American, it's Hispanic American. I mean, I already explained this once because what we all speak is Spanish, not Latin. I don't know if I'm making myself clear, right? It's a term coined by the creators of the Black Legend, French, English, and others, who wanted people called Latin Americans instead of Hispanic Americans. But anyway, I don't want to go off on that now. What was I talking about? Right? About Argentina. And now I don't know. That's it. I lost my train of thought. But I wanted to talk about Algeria. Sorry, about Algeria. It was incredible. I don't know if you saw at the end of the match between Algeria and Austria. There's a really strong historical issue here, and it was that match, that unfortunate event, the famous Gijón match in Spain 82, when both Germany and Austria benefited if Germany won 1-0, 1-0 or 2-0, if I remember correctly. No more than a 2-0 for Germany against Austria. Both would qualify because Germany had slipped up in the first match against Algeria and had lost. And on that last match day, I insist, the matches were played not at the same time, not with a unified schedule. From then on, that's when FIFA started scheduling the matches at the same time after that unfortunate event. It was a match in which Germany scored 1-0 in the 10th minute and then spent 80 minutes just passing the ball around without any danger or depth. It was a disgrace for both Germans and Austrians. The Algerians were throwing money there, and well, it was a terrible moment for football. What happens is that nowadays the same thing can still happen even with unified schedules. I mean, there can still be those famous biscottos, right? And this one seemed like it was going to be, but of course, Algeria had it in for them. Algeria had it in for Austria. And it was amazing how Austria started winning. Then Algeria tied. Goal by Austria and then goal by Algeria. I think that's how it went. 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2. Okay. With the score tied 2-2, they just passed the ball around for several minutes at the end. He arrives, and at a moment when you can see there's a deeper pass, he breaks through the lines, passes to Marid, and with his right foot, he scores the 2-1 in stoppage time. Sorry, with just 10 seconds left in added time. And the Austrians were eliminated with a draw. Both teams were through. Austria finished second and will face Spain. Now let's go over the rest of the bracket. And Austria is eliminated. In that case, Algeria wins. The next play, goal by Austria. Now, that was something I wasn't prepared for. Algeria wanted to get back at Austria, and yet, well, look, in the end, the same thing happens as with the draw that had already been expected a few minutes earlier. But even with all that, obviously, that can't be planned. Hey, in the end, we make it look like you score a goal and I score one. Come on, that's impossible to arrange, right? And it was exciting considering we thought it could be another fixed match. It was really thrilling. I mean, who arranges a 3-3? Come on, that's really hard. So, look, good for football. I don't know who I would have liked to face. Honestly, whether it was Austria or Algeria, I'd almost prefer a European team because Spain does better against European teams than African ones, and that's it. Well, then Austria. Now, let's talk a little about Spain's path. Why? Because, of course, what's on one side? Spain and Portugal would have to face each other in the round of 16, and there are tough matchups like another round of 16 game, Germany against France, and so on, while the other side is a joke. It's just that the other side is a joke, especially in that bottom right part for Argentina, man. So let me know in the comments, is it a coincidence or not? I'm saying this because Argentina, of course, it's just that here you say, it's just that sometimes one of the groups, the group with Egypt and Belgium, well, that was also a joke, but it could have been real. Belgium, they could have finished second and been there in that round of 16 match against Argentina. But even in that, they've been lucky, right? The Argentinians were going to have either Australia or Egypt. But anyway, I want to mention something about Argentina, and it's the following about, let's see here, Messi's goal, obviously. Messi has scored 6 goals. And there was a play I want to highlight, which is this one, and by Dibu Martinez. When we say that Argentina can have red carpets, they can have a penalty in every match. They can have the fact that the referees are always favorable, or at least don't harm them. Never, right? There can be some of that because, in fact, there is, right? Since the last World Cup, including this one. But Argentina is a team, like I said before, men on a mission. And it's a very well-trained team. And they also train tactics, and they're getting stronger and stronger. I actually see them as stronger than in the last World Cup. That's beyond any doubt. Look at what Devo does here, setting up the wall for Chelsea's goal. By the way, it wasn't a penalty. Let's go phase by phase. Let's see. Here. Or where did I have this? No, I had this ready here. Okay, here. I'll show you here. The Jordanian player touches the ball before the Chelsea players. He touches it first. And then, since the man he can't move his foot away from there, he accidentally steps on him. But he has already deflected the ball toward his goalkeeper. Kovac, the Romanian referee, is right behind. He can never see the stump. He can't see it. and he calls the foul because this hasn't gone through VAR. Kovac can't see the stomp man. And what he can see is that the ball goes out in the most reasonable direction, which is the one the Jordanian player is pointing to and not the one the Argentinian player is pointing to. A normal referee on the field could never call a foul there. Never. Because it's also outside the box, obviously. It's a foul. He wouldn't have gone to VAR in any case, but the guy goes and calls a penalty. Sorry, he calls a foul. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. But anyway, I insist. Even so, of course, you say, no, that was a foul, and this was one back in the day. What it wasn't was a red card. Argentina's group stage was amazing too. Like I said, Dibu, man, setting up his wall, or the men in his team's wall, right? And when he's about to take the shot, of course, when Lo Celso is about to shoot, he steps aside. Remember, the rule is you can't be less than a meter apart. Honestly, I think depth perception is the only issue. They looked more than a meter apart, right? Well, if not, he shouldn't have allowed it, right? And here's the goal by Lo Celso, and how, come on, man, just shoot already. And I can't press play, right? And look how everyone moves out of the way there. Seriously, man, I mean, what a great goal, by the way. Well, about Cristiano and Portugal, and while we're at it, about Colombia too. So Spain is in Cristiano's path. Then there will be many people in Spain, unfortunately, who will support Cristiano and all that. Because Cristiano, they'll support Portugal because it's Cristiano. Well, you won't see me doing that. And that's even though I'm the last person you could say isn't a huge Cristiano fan. In a good way, right? Because, you know, there aren't many blind idolatries, right? It's just that Cristiano has given us so much as Madrid fans. And he's such an example in football and sports that, well, he's a figure I really admire. And you know it, and I've shown it these past few days. Besides, well, they naturally invited me to the match in Houston, but I enjoyed it. And it's a day I will never forget in my life, right? The day I saw Cristiano at his last World Cup and scoring goals too, right? Scoring a couple of them. But yes, once again on Portugal's path. There are people who say that what's happening with Spain is very similar to what happened in 2010 because they also started off with a stumble. The second match was won. I'm talking about Spain. They won it convincingly. In the third match, they narrowly defeated a team coached by Bielsa. And I'll add that even along the way, despite there being a round of 16, which didn't exist in 2010, you'll presumably face Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal in the round of 16, just like in 2010. None of the 2010 Spanish players remain on this team, but Cristiano is still there, right? He's the only one left if that round of 16 match from 2010 happens again, the one with Villa's goal in extra time, in overtime, that gave Spain the win. But anyway, the point is that Colombia is much better than Portugal, way better. For me, it was clearly a 2-0 game, 2-0 with a fast ball movement and real determination. It's just that the Portuguese goalkeeper did really well, and on top of that, they missed a lot. They missed a lot and looked unrecognizable in front of goal. Luis Diaz, and that's saying something because I really like him as a player, but this kid Puerta seems like a great player to me. Colombia has some very interesting players. Well, the usual big names who transform when they put on that jersey, like James himself. Great images of James and Cristiano that we Madrid fans enjoyed, right? Joking around together. They were and still are good friends. And well, seeing this, I say, well, who would I rather face if I were Spain, Portugal, or Colombia? Well, I say maybe Portugal is better. Maybe Portugal is better. Just because Spain does better against European national teams than against the rest of the world. That's why Spain in the World Cups, except for the one we won, has never really done very well, except for the one Spain won. I'd take 100 World Cups getting knocked out in the group stage if it means winning just one, instead of always making the semifinals. I just want my World Cup. The Netherlands doesn't have that, and only 8 national teams in the world do. Still, we're better at the Euros. Spain has the most European Championship titles with 4. Germany has 3. It's a shame to face Cristiano, but that's how it is. You never know. It would have been nice. The thing is, Portugal was just 1 goal away from ending up on the other side of the group and actually facing, which would have been normal, right? In theory, Portugal first in their group and therefore in the quarterfinals against Messi. Portugal against Argentina, Cristiano against Messi, but we won't be able to see that. And we can only see it just like a Spain-Argentina, a Portugal-Argentina, a Cristiano-Messi in the final. Only in the final. Anyway, well, I think I haven't left anything out. Hope all goes well for you. Like, comment, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. It really helps. Have a great Sunday. See you next time. Bye.